Hello everyone. In this video we're going to go over step by step on how to apply for postgraduate work permit. I have already included all the links in the bio. This video is for people who are applying for postgraduate work permit and they're in Canada. So we're going to get started. Again, as I mentioned, I have already uploaded all the links in the bio, but for those who don't want to copy and paste the link, you can just type how to apply for postgraduate work permit on Google, and then the first link that pops up, this one here, the one that you want to click on, and then it's going to bring you to this page. Then you're going to scroll down, and then you're going to click inside Canada for this question, where you're applying from, and then you're going to scroll down. First thing first, we have to create an account. I'm going to go over step by step on how to create that account. Right here it says create an account. This is where you want to click on. In order for you to be able to apply for postgraduate work permit, you have to have an account. So you have to create an account. In this account you can send your application, you can pay your fees, you can submit your application, and you can also check the status of your application. So this account is very important. Make sure you have access to this account. Again, you need this account in order to submit your application, pay the fee, and check the status of your application. So we're going to click on create an account or sign in, and then when you're here, you're going to scroll down. It's going to give you two options: create an account and sign in. If you already have an account, just go ahead and sign into the account, but if you don't, we're going to go ahead and create one. In order to create an account, you just have to click on register for an account, and then it's going to bring you to this page. It's going to give you two options in order to create an account. First option is using username and password, and then the second option is if you want to sign into your account through your bank account information. You can choose either of the options in order to create your account. I am going to choose option number one, and I'm not going to show you in this video how to create an account through your bank account. If you need help with this one, you gotta let me know in the comment, and I will try to make a short video on how to create an account through your bank account later. But again, in this video, we're not gonna create an account using option number two. We're gonna go ahead with option number one, which is username and password, and we're gonna create an account through username and password. We're just gonna click on register with GC key username and password, and then it's gonna bring you to this page here. Then you can simply on the right side of the page, you can just click on sign up option right here on the right side of the page. When you click on sign up option, it's going to bring you to this page right here, and then you click on I accept. It's the terms and conditions. You just have to click on I accept. Then you have to create a username. We're gonna go ahead and say the username is Music Ross. We're going to click on continue. We're going to go ahead and say the username is musicross1, and then click on continue. Then I have to come up with a password. These are the criteria of your password. It's got to be 8 characters. It shouldn't have 3. This one is very important. This right here, make sure that your password doesn't contain 3 consecutive characters from your username. So it must be different from your username. So here I'm gonna say okay. When you meet all the requirements, you'll see that you get a green checkbox on the left side of all these checklists that you must meet. Then when you're done choosing your password, you click on continue. Then it's gonna ask you to enter some security question. Make sure you remember this question. going to go ahead and type some answers. I'm going to go ahead and write this. I'm going to say or when you answered all these questions, click on continue, and then it's going to ask you to enter your email address. After you're done entering your email address, you click on continue. And then you click on proceed with confirmation button, right, the blue one right there. And then you click on continue again. Then they will send you a code, a confirmation code to the email address you just provided. So you have to type the code here in this box right here. After you type the code in here, you click on continue. And now it's letting you know that you have successfully added your email. Then you click on continue again, and it's and then it says welcome, and then your username. Then you click on continue again. Then it's gonna ask you to choose a method of authentication. This is very important. Every time that you sign in, they're gonna ask you to, if you enter use your email address, if you enter use your email address method for your two-factor authentication, then they're gonna send you a code to your email address every time you sign into the account. So you have to choose which option you're more comfortable with, whether it's use your desktop device, whether it's use your smartphone or tablet, or whether it's use your email address. I am going to go ahead with use your email address. But again, as I mentioned before, make sure you choose the option that you're most comfortable with, because every time you sign into the account, they're going to ask you to confirm that it's you logging into the account. So if you're using your smartphone or tablet, then make sure that you're comfortable to use that for the rest of your application process. Or if you're using your desktop device, make sure you're comfortable to use that for the rest of your application process. Again, I believe the easiest one for me is the email address, because I do have access to my email address 24/7. So I know that this will not be a problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose this option. I'm just going to click on set up your email. I'm going to scroll down. Then I'm going to click on I accept. Then I have to enter my email address one more time here. Then I click on continue. And then they're going to send me a code. Again, they're going to, every time I sign into my account, this is the page that I'm going to see from now on, because I chose this email address, this way of authentication. So every time I try to sign in, this is the page that I'm going to see from now on for my application. They're going to send a code to the email address I provided, and then I just have to type the code here. After you type the code here, you click on continue. These barcodes, they are very important. Make sure that you save them, keep a copy of them for yourself. These are your recovery codes. They are extremely important. You must make sure that you have a copy of them. I cannot emphasize how important these codes are. Make sure you keep a copy of them. You print them. You can just print it by clicking on this button right here, or you can just take a picture, or you can just write them on a piece of paper. But it's very important. You got to make sure you keep them. Then you're going to scroll down. You're going to click on, you're going to click this checkbox right here. Then you're going to click on continue. Then it's going to let you know that you have successfully set up your two-factor authentication. You can click on continue, and then it's going to bring you to this page right here. Scroll down, click on I accept. And then after you click on I accept, it's going to bring you to this page right here. You're going to scroll down. You just have to answer these questions. I'm going to go ahead and fill out this information. Music. Cross. These are very basic questions. Then it's going to ask you for your preferred language of notification. We're just going to say English. After you entered all this information, your name, your family name, the email address, and your preferred language of notification, you're going to click on continue. And then it's going to ask you to answer another set of security questions. Again, these are very important. Make sure you remember the answer to these questions. You have to come up with your own question. So just type any question that's, easy for you to remember. After you're done typing the questions and answers that you will remember, then you're gonna click on continue. And then your account is finally created. This is your account. And from now on, if you wanna check the status of your application, if you wanna pay the fee for your postgraduate work permit, or if you wanna submit your postgraduate work permit application, this is the account that you must sign into, and you can just check the status, pay the fee, and everything else, do everything else in this account right here. This is your account. In order for you to be able to apply for postgraduate work permit, 4 steps that you make sure that you have to follow. The first step is to make sure that you have all the documents. This can be your diploma, your transcript, the degree that you got from the institution, or a bachelor degree, any degree that you got, along some other documentations that, again, I am going to go into more details about this part later in this video. Just bear with me. Then you want to complete the application for post-graduation work permit. Then you want to pay the fee, and after you paid the fee, you can submit your application. So in order to figure out what documents you need to apply for PGWP, you must download the document checklist. The document checklist shows all the forms and documents that you must have and you must submit to IRCC for your PGWP application. You can download the document checklist from this page, and I have already included the link for this page in the bio. Just click on the link in the bio and it's going to bring you to this page here. Then when you're here, you can just click on step 1, get document, and it's going to bring you to this section right here. And then you want to go ahead and click on document checklist. This is where you want to click on, and it's going to bring you to this page. Then you want to go ahead and click the document checklist. This is the document checklist that I'm talking about. Let's just go ahead and download these. After you downloaded the document checklist, we can now go over it together. The document checklist shows all the forms and applications and all the documents that you must upload to your account and send to IRCC for your postgraduate work permit application. Let's begin going over it together. Before we actually start doing that, keep in mind that you must upload the document checklist in your account in the additional documents section and submit it with your application. As it says here, you need to submit this document checklist with your application. You can just upload it in the additional documents section in your account, and then you can just submit it to IRCC with your application. Let's begin going over all the things that you need to have in order to get your PGWP. The first section of this document checklist, this part right here, is talking about all the applications and forms that you must upload in your account and submit to IRCC for your PGWP. The first thing and the most important thing that you must upload is the application for PGWP itself, which is this application right here. Application to change condition, extend my stay, or remain in Canada as a worker. This is the application for PGWP. This is the main thing of your application. This shows that you are applying for PGWP. If you are single and if you don't have a representative and if you do not want IRCC to share your information with anyone, this is the only thing that you must download and fill out and upload to your account and submit to IRCC for your PGWP application. After you download the form and you fill it out, and after you upload it in your account, you gotta make sure to check this box right here. And then again, if you're single, if you don't have a representative, and if you don't want IRCC to share your information with anyone, then you can just move on to the document list right here. However, if you have a representative, then you must upload this form and this form in your account and submit them to IRCC for your PGWP. Again, you only fill out this form if you have a representative. If you have a representative, you just fill out this form as well as the application for PGWP itself, and then you check these two boxes, and then you can move on to the next section, which is the document list. Now, if you don't have a representative, but you want IRCC to share your information with someone else like your brother, sister, mother, father, aunt, uncle, with anybody else, they must fill out this application, authority to release information to a designated individual, as well as the application for PGWP itself. So you must download these two forms, fill them out, and upload them both in your account and submit them to IRCC if you want IRCC to share your information with someone else for your PGWP application. After you gotta make sure to check these boxes, and then you can just move on to the next section. Again, this is only if you want IRCC to share your information with someone else. If you don't want IRCC to share your information with anyone, and if you don't have a representative, then you can just ignore number 2 and number 3. If you don't have a representative and if you don't want to share your information with anyone, just ignore number 2 and number 3 and just download the application for PGWP, and then you can just move on to the document. For the sake of this video, we're going to say that we don't want to share our information with anyone and we don't want anybody else to access our account. So the only form that I need to download and fill out is going to be this one. And the only box that I need to check from the form list section will be this box right here. And then I can move on to the document list. So for document list section, if you used your passport to enter Canada, you can just ignore number 2. Don't check the box in front of number 2. Just leave it blank. Just ignore it. So if you used your passport to enter Canada, you need photocopies of your passport pages that show your passport number, the date of issue and expiry on your passport, your name and date of birth, and the stamp made by Canadian authorities on your most recent entry to Canada, as well as any other marked pages. So you need photocopies of these pages. After you included all those, you just got to make sure to check this box right here. Let me just go ahead and check it. And then again, if you used your passport to enter Canada, you can just ignore number 2 and move on to number 3. However, if you did not use your passport to enter Canada and you used a travel document or an identity document, then number 2 is the one that you must fill out. Again, number 2 is only for people who use travel document or identity document to enter Canada. If you did not use travel document or identity document to enter Canada, just ignore number 2. This does not apply to you. If you use travel document or identity document to enter Canada, then you must upload photocopies of your travel or identity document, whichever you used. Again, this is only if you didn't use your passport to enter Canada. And then after you uploaded the photocopies of your travel document or your identity document, whichever you use to enter Canada, in your account, then you just have to check this box right here, and then you can move on to number 3. For the sake of this video, we're gonna say that we used our passport to enter Canada, so we can just ignore number 2, and I'm not gonna check the box in front of it. And then I'm gonna move on to number 3. So number 3 is asking you to upload the photocopy of your current immigration document. For example, in this case, it's gonna be your study permit. You need to upload a photocopy of your current study permit. If you have any other document, make sure to include those as well. For the sake of this video, I'm just gonna say the only immigration document that I currently have is my study permit. And then when you include that, then you wanna make sure to check the box in front of it. And then we can now move on to the next section, which is the proof of education. So for this section right here, it's asking you to upload either a final transcript or a letter from the institution or any formal notice of graduation. You can upload whichever you want, but you must include at least one of them. After you included at least one of these 3, whichever you have, after you included at least one of these 3, make sure to check the box right here. And then you can now just move on to the next section, which is proof of payment. So you do have to pay for your PGWP application, and it's going to cost you $255, $100 for the open work permit holder fee, plus $155 for the work permit processing fee, in total of $255. Make sure to check the box in front of it, and then you are done with this document checklist. You can just ignore this last section. This does not apply to you. Just ignore it and do not check this last box right here. Just don't check it. Just leave it blank, leave it as is. Just ignore this last section. This does not apply to you. Now, these are all the things that you must have for your PGWP application. Now that we're done with this document checklist, we can just go ahead and download the application, which again, it's this application right here. And again, don't forget to upload this document checklist in the additional document section of your application. As you can see here, it says that you need to submit this document checklist with your application. So don't forget to submit and include this in your application. You can download the application by clicking on step number 2 of the page, which again, I have included the link for this in the bio. You just click on complete the application. Then it's gonna bring you to this application that you must fill. For the sake of this video, we are gonna say that we are single, and I don't want to use any representative. I don't want to have IRCC to share my information with anyone. And again, I'm single. So if you're single and you don't want to have IRCC to share your information with anyone, and if you don't have any representative, this is the only application that you must download and fill and upload in your account and submit to IRCC. But if you're planning to use a representative, then you must fill out this application, well as this application, use of representative. If you just want to make sure that IRCC share your information with a third party, then you fill out this application and this application. And if you're not single, you fill out this application and this application. But again, for the sake, and if again you're just a single person, you don't have any representative, you don't want to share your information with anyone, this is the only thing that you must download and fill out, the first option application to change conditions or extend your stay in Canada. This is the application that you must download and fill out if you're single and you do not want to represent or you do not want to share your information. For the sake of this video, we're going to say we're single, we don't have a representative, we don't want our RCC to share information with anyone, and so we just have to download this application right here, and I just have to fill out this application. So after you download it and open the form, this is the form that you must fill out. Make sure you're filling out the right form. If you have the right form, then we can just start filling out this application. So again, this is the application to change condition, extend my stay or remain in Canada. You got to make sure you're filling out the right form. So for the first question, it's asking for your UCI. You're just going to type your UCI. You can find this on your student visa. Then you're going to choose if you want the service to be in English or French. We're going to say in English. Then you have to choose what you're applying for, which is going to be this one, apply for work permit for the first time with a new employer. After you can just move on to the next section, which is personal details. This is asking for your full name, and it must be as it's shown on your passport, so it must be all in capital. We're just going to say Ross. For the given name, we're just going to say music. Then it's asking if you've ever used any other name. If not, then you click on no. If yes, and as you can see, when you click on no, it will black out these sections, so you don't have to fill them out. It doesn't. You don't have to fill them out. It will let you know that you don't need to fill them out. But if you say yes, it's gonna ask you to start filling these sections. We're just gonna say no, and then you have to choose your gender. We're just gonna say female. The date of birth, we're gonna say 1997, 08, 10. Then it's asking for the place of birth. We're gonna say Istanbul, and then the country of birth, we're gonna say Turkey. Let me just find here. Then for the citizenship, you just have to choose the citizenship of the country you were born in, which is going to be Turkey in this case. Then you can move to section 7. It's asking for your current country or territory of your residence. It's going to be Canada. The status, you are still a student, so you're going to pick a student. So for the dates, for the from date, it's going to be the date that you first arrived in Canada. So this is going to be the first date that you arrived in Canada. So if you arrived in Canada in 2020, the first date that you entered Canada, this is going to be the date that you must include it here. We're going to say it was 2020, 08/15. And for the to date, it must be the date that your student visa expires. So the date on your student visa, there's an expiry date on your student visa. That's the date you must include it here. Again, the from date is the date you first entered Canada, and the to date is the expiry date on your student visa. So if the study expiry date on your student visa is 2024 08 31st, you want to make sure you include that here. Again, this is the date of expiry of your student visa. The state is the date of expiry on your student visa. Then you can just move on to the next question. It's asking for the it's asking if during the last 5 years you have lived in any country or territory other than Canada or your country of citizenship for more than 6 months. So the country of citizenship in our case is Turkey. We said it's Turkey. So if it's asking if you during the past 5 years you lived in other countries other than Canada, and in our case Turkey, for more than 6 months. So if you haven't lived in any other country other than Canada and your country of citizenship for more than 6 months, you just click no. And if you have, let's say that you have lived in United States for more than 6 months, then you just click yes and you start filling out these sections. You let them know which country it was, the status that you had, like if you were like visitor visa, you were visiting United States on visitor visa, then you just want to let them know that you had visitor status, and then you have to include the dates. But again, if you were not in any other country other than Canada and your country of citizenship for more than 6 months, you just say no. And as you can see, then you don't have to answer any of these parts. You can just move on to the next section, which is marital status. We're gonna say we're single. If you say you're married, then you have to answer these sections, section B and section C. But section C is here. But if you say, here, let me show you. If you say you're married, then you must answer these parts. If you say you're single, you don't have to answer them. You can just move on to the next section. Also, if you say, where is it? Also, if you say you're married, you must also make sure you answer section D as well. And then you can, but if you say single, you don't have to answer that. Then we're gonna go to next page, which is, okay, right. So now it's asking for personal details. It's asking if you have previously been married or in a common law relationship. If yes, then you must make sure to include those information here. And if no, then you don't have to answer any of these questions. You can just move on to the language section. It's asking for your native language. We're gonna say Turkish. Let me just, where is it? Okay, I'm just gonna say Turkish. Then it's asking if you're able to communicate in English or French. We're going to say English. Then it's asking if you have ever taken a test from a designating testing agency to assess your proficiency in English or French. I did IELTS before, so I assume that's what they're asking. So I'm just going to say yes. Then it's asking for your passport information. This is very easy. You just look it up on your passport. It's asking for your passport number. Then it's asking for the country that your passport was issued and the date of issue of your passport and expiry date. These information can be found on your passport. Just look at your passport, then you will be able to find those information. Here we're gonna say Turkey. And then for the date of issue, I'm just going to say 2019-08, 30th. And for the expiry date, I'm just going to say 2026, 08. Again, I'm going to say 29. Then you can see that these questions were automatically, you can see that they were automatically what they call filled. It doesn't let me to pick either of these options because I stated that the country that my passport was issued was in Turkey. But if it was in national Israel passport, or if it was issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Taiwan, then it wouldn't be automatically blacked. I had to answer those questions, but because I stated that the country that my passport was issued in was Turkey, then they were automatically, these question number 5 and 6 were automatically answered for me, and they were automatically blacked. And then we move on to the national identity document. It's asking if you have a national identity document. I don't. If you guys have, you just choose yes, then fill out these boxes. If you don't, you just click on no. Then it's asking if you have a green card. I don't. If you have, you just have to click yes and answer these 2 boxes. But if you don't, you just click no. Then we can move on to the contact information. So it's asking for your current mailing address. If you have a PO box, make sure to include it here. If not, just leave it blank. If you're living in an apartment, this is where you want to have the unit number. If you're not living in an apartment and it's a house, you just leave this part blank. You move on to this section. We're going to say it's an apartment. We're going to say it's the unit number is 201. Then it's asking for a street number. We're going to say 34. A street name, we're going to say it's Pharmacy Avenue, Toronto, Canada, 2, and then province, it's Ontario, and postal code, I'm just going to say it's 1M1, 2M2. Then it's asking if you're residential. Oops, right. You're right. Okay. Then it's asking if the residential address is the same as the mailing address. If no, then you must include your current residential address. If yes, then you don't have to fill out these boxes. You can just move on to the next section. We said yes. Then for the, oops. Now it's asking for the telephone number. I'm just going to say Canada. Then you have to choose the type of telephone. We're going to say cellular. Then you have to type your cell phone number. Okay, if there's an extension, you want to include it here. If not, you just leave it blank. If you have an alternative telephone number, you just include it here. If not, you leave it blank. If you want to include a fax number, you include it here. If not, you leave it blank. Make sure you include your email address. I'm just gonna say this is my email address. It's got to be an email address that you have access to and you will check regularly so that they can send you stuff. They can send you document, or they can let you know what you should do for your next step after you send your application. Then we can move on to the next section, which is coming into Canada. So for this part right here, it's asking for the date you first entered Canada. So this is the same as the date that you stated earlier in here. Again, as I said, for this section, the personal details, under question number 7, current country or territory of residence, the from date is the first date that you entered Canada. So this date is going to be the same as the first date that you first entered Canada for this section. Oops. For this section, coming into Canada, we're just going to have the same date. And then the place of entry, we're going to say it was YYZ, which is Toronto Pearson Airport, Toronto International Pearson Airport. If you're not sure about the code for your airport, like if you first entered at Calgary International Airport, you want to make sure that is the code. You look up the code on Google. This is the code for Toronto Pearson Airport. And make sure you include the name as well, just to make sure there's no confusion, and make sure you include the right code, okay? Again, this is only for Toronto Pearson Airport. Then it's asking the original purpose for coming to Canada. Well, a study. We came here with a student visa because we wanted to study. Then it's asking if you've ever, the date of your most recent entry to Canada, if it's not the same as the original date. So if you never left Canada after this date, then you can just leave this part blank and move on to the next question. This question right here, if you left Canada after this date multiple times, like if you left Canada after these dates 4 or 5 times, you want to include the date of your most recent entry. So the last time you entered Canada, when was it? You want to include that date here. And where was it? Like the place, which airport was it? And then again, but that's only if you have left Canada. If you haven't left Canada after entering to Canada on this date, you just leave this part blank. You move on to the next question. We're gonna say that we never left Canada after that date, and we're gonna start filling out. We're gonna move on to next question, question 4. It's asking for, it's asking to provide the document number of your most recent visitor record, a study permit, work permit, or temporary resident permit issued to you. So in this case, it's gonna be your, the document number is going to be the a study permit it's going to be found on your study permit. You just want to include the date that shows that is shown on your study permit. The document number, you want to include it here. We're just going to say this is it. You can find this date. You can find this number on your study. I know this is not valid, but I just wanted to type something. Okay. Again, for the document number, you can find your document number on your study permit. So it's the number on your study permit. Just look at your study permit. That's and then enter the document number here. After you're done answering this question, you can just move on to the next section, which is details of intended work in Canada. So it's asking what type of work permit are you applying for. This one you just say post-graduation work permit. Then for questions 2 to 7, for this question 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you can just leave them blank because this is the first time you're applying for your work permit. So you can just leave these parts blank up till question 7, and then you can just move on to question 8. Again, after you pick this option, post-graduation work permit, this is your first time you're applying for your employer. Just you can just leave these parts blank. Questions 2 to 7, you can just leave them blanks, and then move on to question 8. It's asking if you have been issued a certificate under provincial nominee program. I haven't. If you have, then you click yes, but I haven't, so I'm going to click no. Then it's going to ask for your educations. It's asking if you have. It's asking if you've had any post-secondary education. We're going to say yes. So for the from date, you have to type the date that your program started. In our case, it started in 2020, September. You have to, if your program started in winter, then you have to type the right date. Again, my program started in September, so I'm just going to say it started in September. Then it's asking for the field and level of study. I am going to say the field of study was business. Then it's asking for the school name. I'm going to say it was York University. Then for the location of York University, we're going to say it was in Toronto. Country, Canada. And for the province, Ontario. And for the to date, that's the date that your program ended. I'm going to say 2024. I'm going to say 04. So again, from is the date that your program started, to is the date your program ended. Then you can move on to the next section, which is employment. It's asking for the past 10 years of, it's asking for your employment history for the past 10 years. So if you were working before you come to Canada on the student visa, you must include that here. You gotta start with your most recent, oops. So you have been, let me just, give me a sec. So you want to start with your most recent occupation for section 1. And then if you've been doing multiple jobs, then you can just fill out section 2 and section 3. And if you ran out of space, if you need more space to give more information, you can just attach it in your letter of explanation. And again, you gotta start from the most recent one and type it here. and this is going to be, and you want to make sure to include everything, and you start from the most recent one and you go down all the way down to the oldest history that you have. If you run out of a space, then just include the remaining information in your letter of explanation. And if you haven't done any jobs, and you got to make sure it's only for the past 10 years. You don't need to include anything more than that. If you never worked during the past 10 years, you can just leave these parts blank, or you can just write NA. You can just leave them blank. And then you can just move on to the next section, which is background information. So this section is for people who are 18 years or older. So for the first section, it's asking about, it's asking if you or your family member have had tuberculosis within the past 2 years, or if they have been in contact with someone who's had tuberculosis. I'm gonna say no. If yes, then you have to pick yes. Then it's asking if you have any physical or mental disorder that would require social and or health services other than medication during your stay in Canada. Again, it's no for me. If yes, then you have to pick yes. If you pick yes for any of these questions, you have to make sure you provide explanations for that question here. So let's say that I say yes to this question, then I have to explain about it here. But again, if you say no, then you don't have to explain about anything. For the second question, it's asking if you have ever remained beyond the validity of your status, or if you've ever attended a school without authorization, or if you've ever worked without authorization in Canada. No, I haven't. And then it's asking if you've ever been refused a visa or permit or denied entry or ordered to leave Canada or any other country or territory. No. It's asking for section C, it's asking if you've previously applied to enter or remain in Canada. I'm going to say no. Again, if you say yes to any of these questions, you have to provide explanation here. If you say no, then you don't have to provide any explanation. Then you can move on to question 3. It's asking if you've ever committed a crime or have been arrested or been charged with convicted of any criminal offense in any country or territory. I have not. So if you have, you have to click yes and you have to provide an explanation. If no, then you can just click no, move on to the next section. So for question number 4, it's asking if you've ever served in any military or civil defense, or you've served in a security organization or police force. I have not. If yes, you click yes, provide explanations. Question 5, it's asking if you've ever been a member or associated with any political party or group or organization which has engaged in or advocated violence as a mean to achieve a political or religious objective. I have not. If yes, you click yes. Have you ever, question 6 is asking if you've ever witnessed or participated in an ill treatment of prisoners or civilians. I have not, so I'm going to click no. Then for this question, then for this part, signature, this is the easiest section. It's asking if you consent IRCC to contact you in future. I'm going to say yes. For your signature, you can just type your name. I'm just going to say Music Ross. And then you can just type the date that you were signing this signature. Now, this is, then you can move on. And this is the most important part of the application. You must click on the Validate button. If you have missed any section of this application that you were supposed to fill out, but you didn't, then this is going to give you an error. But if you have filled all the sections that you were supposed to fill out, then it's going to give you the barcode, which is what you need. I'm going to click on Validate. As you can see, I got an error. So that means I didn't fill out all the information correctly, and I have to fill out this section. When you click on OK, it's going to bring you to the section that you haven't filled. So as you can see, I didn't fill out this section and I got an error message, and it's not letting me to get those barcode that I'm looking for, and it doesn't validate my application. So when you see this, that means you have to fill out this boxes. You have to fill it out in order to be able to actually validate your application. So we're just going to fill it out. So it's asking again for your employment history. You got to start with your most recent one. We're gonna say it's in 2018. The month was 05. It's gonna say we're gonna say it was a sales woman. The company I worked for was called Red Rose Clothing, and then the city was Istanbul. And the country was Turkey. And then for the dates, I'm just gonna say 2019, 10. Oops, 10. Okay, now you can see that I don't have those red boxes anywhere else in my application. Now if I click on validate, get this message that says validation completed successfully. Please print the entire application and sign and date the last page. And this page contains barcode that facilitates the entry of your application. Again, you don't need to do that. You can just upload it. If you're applying online, you don't need to sign your application form by hand. You will be asked to provide an electronic signature once you're ready to transmit your document to CIC. I will show you how you can do that later in this video when we are actually trying to submit our application. But for now, all you have to, again, you don't need to print your application and sign or date anything. Don't do this part, okay? You're not applying on paper. This is only for people who are applying on paper. We are applying online, so this part right here is the one that we have to pay attention to. You can just ignore this first part. You can just ignore this. You will need to sign your application once you're uploading the document and once you're sending it to IRCC from your account. I will show you that later in this video, but for now, we can just click on OK. After we see this validation completed successfully, we can just press on OK. Now we get the barcode. Okay, this is what we want. This is what we've been looking for. This is very important. You must have this. If you don't get this, if you press on validate and as you saw, when you get an error, it's not going to give you this barcode. So, but if you have done this application 100%, if you have answered all the questions that you were supposed to answer, then when you press on validate, when you press on this button, you're going to get this barcode that we want. And now that you filled the application, then you can just save it and then move on to the document section of the of that checklist and talk about that. Now that we're done filling out our application, it's now time to go back to our account, which is this account right here that we made earlier together. And we have to start uploading the application and the supporting document and paying our fee. So in order to do all that, again, we have to go back to our account. And in order for you to sign back into your account, all you have to do is, this is the first page that we started with. This is where we started creating the account together. You just go back to this page and then you scroll down. Then you do have to answer this question where you're applying from. It's going to be inside Canada. Then you scroll down and click on create an account or sign in. Then it's going to bring you to this page here. Then you have to choose that you want to sign in. We did use username and password to create account. So the first option is the one that we want to click on. If you use your bank account to create an account, then you want to use the second option to sign in. But again, we use username and password to create an account. So this is the one that we want to sign in. Then you can just go ahead, enter your username and password, and then they're going to send you an email. They're going to send you a code to your email, and you want to type that code, and you can just sign into your account, which is this account right here. After you're signing into the account, then it's now time to actually start uploading the documents. So in order for you to start uploading the documents and pay the fee and submit your PGWP application, you have to scroll down. You have to, under start an application, there's this option, apply to come to Canada. Right under start an application, it says apply to come to Canada. This is where you want to click on. Then you want to scroll down, all the way down. Under determine your eligibility and apply online, you want to click on the first option, visitor visa, study and work permit. Then we have to start answering some questions. So let's do it together. First question is, what would you like to do in Canada? We're applying for PGWP, and we want to work, so we're going to choose work. How long are you planning to stay? It's going to be temporarily, more than 6 months. And then it's asking for the code that matches the one on your passport. In my case, for my passport, it's going to be Turkey. I have to pick Turkey. You got to look at your passport and pick the right code. If your passport was issued in India and the code that matches the one on your passport is for India, then you want to pick India. That depends on your passport. Just look at your passport. Then the next question, what is your current country or territory of residence? If you're presently in Canada, then you should select Canada. So we are in Canada, we're going to just go ahead and pick Canada. It's asking if you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident who is 18 years or older. If you have, just go ahead and click yes. If you don't, just go ahead and click no. I'm just going to say yes. But if you don't, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and click no. Then it's asking for your date of birth. Let me just pick the date of birth here. August, I'm going to say August 4th. Then we're going to say next, and we're going to start answering some more questions. It's asking if you're a permanent resident of United States or if you have a valid U.S. citizenship. No. Next. Then it's asking for your immigration status. We are currently a student, so we are going to say a student. Then we're going to click on next. It's asking if you plan to work on campus. The answer is no. Click next. Then it's asking if you're a full-time student at a participating post-secondary institution and want to work off campus up to 20 hours per week. That's a no, because we are applying for postgraduate work permit. That means we have finished our studies and we're no longer a full-time student. So that's going to be no. It's next question. Have you recently graduated from a participating Canadian post-secondary institution for which your study program was a full-time and a minimum of 8 months? Yes. Next question. Is your work an essential part of your studies? That's no, it's not. So I'm just going to pick no. Then we're going to click on next. It's asking, have you been told by an IRCC office that you are approved in principle for permanent residence in Canada? No. Have you submitted a permanent resident application in Canada? No. Do you have a written job offer? No. Then we're going to click on next. Next question is asking, do you have an official letter from your school that confirms you've completed your study program as well as a copy of your final transcript? That's a yes. Then we're going to click on next. The marital status, we're going to say never married or single. Then it's asking what is your province or territory of destination. If visiting multiple provinces or territories, select the one in which you will be spending the most of your time. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Ontario. I am in Ontario. I'm planning to stay in Ontario, so I'm just going to pick Ontario. Then it's going to bring you to this page. So this is where you want to pick the graduate work permit in Canada option. You want to click on continue right here. You're clicking on the right option. The second one, postgraduate work permit in Canada, this is the one you want to click on. This is the one that we are filling out the application for and we're planning to apply for. So you're just going to go ahead and click on continue. Then it's going to bring you to this page. Then you want to click on continue again. Now it's just gonna ask you some questions, the proper document checklist. So from now on, every question that you start answering is just to determine what documents you must submit to IRCC, what applications you must fill out. It's just trying to give you your customized document checklist. The document checklist that we went over earlier, this is just this is basically it. So again, this part of the application here, it's just asking you some question to give you your customized document checklist. I'm going to go ahead and answer the question, and I'm going to show you what I actually mean by this. So it's asking if you have an official letter from your school that confirms you've completed your studies, as well as your final transcript. Yes. So now it's asking if you have a medical, if you have had a medical exam performed by RCC planned physician within the last 12 months. I don't. If you have, then you want to go ahead and click yes. Then it's going to bring you to this page. If you click no, it's going to bring you to this page. This is just saying that a medical exam is needed for people in these categories. The first category is people who want to stay in Canada for more than 6 months and have lived in another country for more than 6 months in the past year. If you're planning to stay in Canada for more than 6 months and during the past year you were living in, let's say, Afghanistan for 6 months or more, for more than 6 months, let's say you were living there for 7 months, then you must, for this question right here, do you fit into one category? Then you must say yes. But if you haven't lived in any other country other than Canada for more than 6 months during the past year, then you do not fit in this category. And the answer to these questions for most of the applicant is no. The second category is for people who intend to work in one of these jobs. If you plan to become a medical student, or if you plan to become a health science worker, then you have to say yes to this question again. But again, if you don't fall into either of these categories, the first bullet point and the second bullet point, if you don't fall into either of those categories, you just pick no. So I don't want to work in any of these jobs here, and I was not living in another country for more than 6 months during the past year besides Canada. So the answer to this question will be a no for me. Again, if you didn't live in any other country but Canada during the last year for more than 6 months, and if you do not want to work in any of these categories, you just pick no, and then you move on to the next section. Is basically the same question. It's asking if you intend to work in any of these jobs. Again, I said no, and I'm not planning to, so I'm just going to pick no, and I'm going to click on next. Then it's asking if you want to submit an application for a family member. I'm going to pick no. And here it's going to ask you if you're giving someone access to your application. So remember how I told you earlier that if you want to have IRCC share your information with someone other than you, then you must fill out an extra document. This is the document that you must, here, oops. So as I said before, if you want RCC to share your information with someone other than you, you must fill out an extra form, which is this one, which is this right here. Or if you want to have a representative, then you must also fill out this form. So this part of the application is basically saying the same thing. It's asking you, are you giving someone access to your application? If you say yes to this part, then you have to fill out extra applications. Like if you want to have someone to be your representative, then you have to fill out the application that is appropriate for having a representative. Then, or if you want to have IRCC share your information with somebody other than you, then you want to fill out an application for that. So you're going to have to fill out extra applications if you pick any of these three options. If you say yes to, if you pick any of these three options, then you have to fill out extra applications other than the application that we just filled earlier, application to change conditions. Other than that, you have to fill out some other application. But since we don't want to have RCC to share our information with anyone and we don't have a representative, we're going to say no, and we're going to go ahead and click next. Then it's asking if in the past 10 years you have given your fingerprints and photo for biometrics for an application. That's a yes. Then we're going to say, we're going to click on next. Then it's asking, there are fees associated with the application. Will you be paying the fees or are you fee exempt? The option will be yes, I will be paying my application fee. This is the one that I am picking. Then I'm going to click on next. Then it's asking if you are able to make a digital copy of your documents with a scanner or camera. Yes. Next, will you be paying your application fee online? You do need a credit card to pay your application fee online, so make sure you have a credit card ready. Then you're going to say yes, and then you're going to move on to the next question. Oh, okay. After you're done answering all the questions, you can just go over all the questions, review them, make sure they're right. If there's any mistake, you can just click this button right here, this right here, and edit that section, or edit those questions, or edit the answer to those questions. And then if you see that all the answers are correct and you want to move on to the next section, you just scroll down and click on continue. Then it's going to bring you to this part. This is just a general guideline of everything that you should do. So for example, for step 3 is talking about uploading the document, and it's just giving you some tips when you're uploading the document, like the maximum size for each file, or that you don't need to print your application and sign it by hand. You don't have to do that. And that one file will be allowed per document type. It's just giving you some general information and some tips. It wouldn't hurt if you go over it and try to read them for your knowledge, just to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. If feel free to go over all this information. And then for the step 4 is just letting you know that you have to pay the fee, and that once you pay the fee, you will receive a payment confirmation page. And when payment has completed processing, you will receive a message with your confirmation number and a link to your payment receipt. When you're done, you just scroll down and click on continue. Then it's going to bring you to this page. This is your document checklist. This is going to show the applications that you must upload and fill out and upload. We've already filled out this application. It's going to show you the supporting document that you must upload. It's going to show you the optional document. For example, if you have an explanation letter, or if you have extra document that you want to attach, this is where you can attach them. And the last section is going to talk about the fee, which is $255. And we're just going to go ahead and upload the documents and the application that it's asking us to upload. Again, this page might be different if you have chosen to have your information shared with somebody else. For example, if you said that I want a representative, then under the application form, you're gonna see this application to change condition, as well as another document, as well as another application to have a representative. So under the optional document, right in front of client information, this is where you can upload your explanation letter, and this is where you can upload the document checklist. Make sure to include the document checklist, because on the document checklist that we earlier did together, here it says this document checklist is one of the forms that you need to submit with your application. So make sure to include that document checklist. You can just include it, you can just upload it here right in front of client information. This is where you want to attach your document checklist. This is where you can attach any other documents or any other explanation letter that you might have. If you don't have any other documents, if you don't have an explanation letter, if your case is very straightforward, then you're good. You don't have to attach any of those, but make sure you include the document checklist. Then you can just move on to the fee section. And as I mentioned, when you attach the document, this is going to turn green and it's going to says uploaded, like these ones here. And if you don't provide it, it's just gonna, if you don't attach anything, it's just gonna show not provided. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and upload my documents. As you can see, I have uploaded all of the document as well as the application as well as my optional document, which again, this is just my document checklist that we filled out together earlier. Again, if you don't have any other document, make sure you still attach your document checklist. And one more thing that I need to make sure to state here, you can only attach one document under each one of this. So in explanation letter, and you also wanna attach, your document checklist. And if you have some other like documents, then you can just make them all into one PDF, and then you can just upload that PDF in front of client information where it says upload form. You can just upload all of them in there, but make sure you make them into one PDF. After you're done, then you can just scroll down. As you can see, when you attach all the documents, I have attached all the documents and application and everything. As you can see, after I've attached everything, the next button turns blue, and I can easily click on next and go to the next section, which is paying the fee. But again, if you don't attach the optional document, I'm just gonna show you an example. If you don't attach it, the next button is still gonna turn blue. So when I tell you that optional document is optional, that's what I mean. You can still move on to the next section. However, as I mentioned, make sure that you include document checklist. Scroll down, click on the next button, and then it's going to bring you to this part, your declaration and electronic signature. You can just scroll down, and here it says, here you have to select I agree. Then you scroll down, you have to type your name, use capital words. I'm just gonna go ahead and say and then your last name, you enter your first name here, you enter your last name here, and then the city, you answer one of your security questions. So you answer one of your, they make you to answer one of your security question. This is going to be different for everyone. So depending on the security question that you answer, this question right here will be different for everyone. This is just the question that I chose for my security question. Yours going to be definitely different. I'm just going to go ahead and type the answer to my security question. After I typed it, and I want to go ahead and make sure everything is attached. Just review everything one more time. This is the list of everything that you have attached. This part right here is the list of everything you have attached. This is just a summary of fees. You have to pay $255, and then you have to make sure your name is there, your family name, and then you make sure that you answer your security question, and then click on sign. After you do that, you are gonna scroll down, and then you are gonna click on transmit and pay button. Now it's asking you to pay for your application. You must pay in order for you to be able to move on to the next section, to the next step, which is submitting your application. So we're just going to click on transmit and pay. Then it's going to ask you to enter your bank account information. Then you go ahead and enter your bank account information and you click on checkout, and you can finally submit your application. Hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.